Welcome to Inside Pitch. I'm Jeff Gordon, Post-Dispatch, joined by our columnist, Lynn Worthy. Lynn, a week ago you talked about the challenge the Cardinals would face should this trade deadline come, and this late inning relievers are traded, leaving the team very short on the back end of the bullpen. That would basically say your season's over. A week later, the team seems to be moving closer toward at least selling off some players, and it looks like the challenge for the field staff is only going to get tougher from here.
Yeah, the fact that they came out sort of limping out of the All-Star break doesn't really bode well for what they might have to do at the trade deadline. So just the fact that they were in the race, they're not totally out of it yet, but the fact that they seem to be slipping further and further out of it means it's more likely trades to take place. And then you're looking at a late season where you're really not playing for contention. You're just almost playing out the string. And then that gets to be a really rough season in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the whole hope for this team was to stay competitive all the way through, play meaningful games, learn how to play good baseball during meaningful games. And, up till shortly before this break, they were able to achieve that. Now they've hit a pretty severe rut, and you're trying to say, okay, let's maintain this atmosphere as best we can, this competitiveness, the resilience, the relentlessness, all the things that Ali talked about, has been proud of. He's trying to maintain that in this atmosphere. And it's so important for guys who are still in the developmental modes, guys that are breaking out, like an Alec Burleson, a guy who's trying to get back on track, for instance, like Jordan Walker, a great example of a guy they want to get a lot done for the rest of this year with Jordan Walker. It's so critical. It'd be easier to get that done if these games matter, the atmosphere is good, people are smiling and their heads are up.
And also just the long-term benefit you would like to think that you're going to get for Mason Wynn, Victor Scott, Ivan Herrera, all these guys playing in meaningful games now, so that when you're in a position where you think you can contend, when you think you're maybe able to make a run, they're not going through these things for the first time, and they're not coming to it just wide-eyed. You'd like to have them have meaningful games under their belt by the time you get to that point, and so that's why being in the playoff chase now, maybe going down to the end of the season, still in the hunt, maybe getting into a wild card has a benefit down the line for this group of players. But if you go back to like 2023, where it was like everybody knows the season's over at the break, and then you're just sort of rolling guys out there and couching it as opportunity and evaluation, then those games it's really just a matter of guys start playing individually, thinking about their playing time, what they can do, and it's not building your team for the future.
Now you could, if you're John Mozeliak, certainly find a good return for Ryan Helsley. You could get a return for Maton. You could certainly get a return for Matz. These guys would fetch a return. Now you start trading all of these guys, and now you're putting so much pressure on a young group of pitchers who they're not a very deep group when it comes to major league experience. You're already seeing strain with Andre Palante and the workload. Matthew Liberatore, the workload. They've tried to adjust this year to be starters start to finish in the season. Big step to take. So you're already putting some pressure on your young pitchers just through the very nature of having two young starters who need to catch their breath. There's the potential that you could have a lot of openings on that pitching staff and putting a lot of guys in positions maybe sooner than expected.
Yeah, and you're specifically naming the relievers because I think the exception is in the starting staff. Like Eric Fedde, I think people are ready to see that experiment end. Like if they can trade him or whatever they need to do. And the most recent comments after his last start from Oli Marmol did not seem to be very optimistic about what's ahead for Eric Fedde. So I think it's his last 9 starts since the beginning of June have all been just really rough, ERAs high. So I think if they move him out of the rotation, you're talking about looking at Michael McGreevy, a guy who you can sort of see each start building towards something for the future, then that's the exception. But with the rest of them, then it just becomes sort of what are you doing to this pitching staff? What position are you putting guys in? What are you straining if you start trading off some of these relievers and then just sort of putting guys in spots that they're not quite ready for? And then also you get to some games where, maybe if you get into that habit where you're blowing games and you get to late innings and the game just sort of gets away from you, then it just sort of becomes a drag on the rest of the season.
Yeah, if suddenly you're putting a Riley O'Brien into hey, guess what, you get to close some games, for instance. The guys who are here, guys who are trying to find a spot going forward, it would create quite a challenge. Going back again to Ollie and the field staff, it would be an enormous challenge. That's something we've got to keep a watch on here at the Post-Dispatch in the digital edition. over here at STLtoday.com. We'll keep talking about it all season. For Lynn Worthy, I'm Jeff Gordon. Keep supporting local journalism, and we'll see you next time.